All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Inclusion Matters with Inclusion Pro Wrestling. That's right. I am the hit maker, the heartbreaker, breaking all the women's hearts. He is, unfortunately, the crippled freaking messiah. Yes, folks, he thinks he's a fucking wrestling god now. And then, of course, our special guest host, the one and only Mr. Hall of Famer, Mr. 15,000, the GOAT, the myth, the legend, the man, Mr. T fucking Rex. That's right. He's a Hall of Famer, so he gets the longest introduction. If you don't like it,
Of course.
tough shit. And then, of course, our
Wow.
guest, and then, of course, our guest is Mr. Carl Danger. So, Carl, why don't you let us know a little bit about yourself, how long you've been wrestling, and whatever you want to tell us?
Um, I guess if I want to go to the beginning, I started getting the local Portland scene around 2015 when DOA was more like DOA was DOA. They were running a Boys and Girls Club, and BCW was NWA, and I was at Drexel School for the last two classes. Like I got there and they're like, "We're closing in 2 weeks." I was like, "I don't care." So I went there, two classes. It was fun. And after that, I graduated college. I don't focus on a job, but around 2 years ago, the Oregon Pro Wrestling School started. Headed by Ricky Gibson, Eddie Pearl, Malcolm Flex, and started in the summer, and I wanted to join, but it's so hot, so I waited until September to join, and I did, and so I've been training for 2 years now. I've been doing a couple of battle royales, stuff like that, for around a year, and I'll be wrestling at Hot Sauce Fest coming up, PDX Hot Sauce Fest. Uh, don't remember the dates. I think it's August 12th, but you'll see me there, and you see a bunch of other Oregon Pro Wrestling School originals.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a question for you then.
All right. Okay.
Here's my question. I'm sure because I'm pretty inept with the Northwest because I've done a lot here in my career with the Northwest. You mentioned Ricky Gibson and Malcolm Flex, and Derek Drexel.
Yeah.
Have you had the privilege yet to either be on a show or to work a show with Mr. Jason Sullivan?
I've met Jason. I've not had the. I've was a young boy for a couple DOA shows for around 6 months. Jason was on there. I've never had a direct interaction with Jason, but I know who he is. I've seen him work. I've seen him sweat, and but yeah, I've not had that interaction with him. I see him at DOA shows still. He comes by and watches them and stuff.
Very
I've not directly interacted, but I know who he is and stuff like that.
So, who were some of your wrestling heroes growing up?
Wrestling heroes growing up. I think growing up as a kid, The Rock just popped out. Rock and Kurt Angle. So my dad was super into amateur wrestling, and amateurs really wore the singlet. Kurt Angle wore the singlet. So and I did amateur wrestling a bit as a kid, and so I was like, oh, this is how real wrestlers dress like. And then The Rock is, he's The Rock. It's the '90s, early 2000s. He probably talked the coolest than any other person on air or in a movie, and he has the catchphrase "Lay SmackDown" and stuff, and I always thought that was so cool. And they even named a show after it. And growing up, uh, I took a break from wrestling. Um, my interest went other ways, but when I got older, I started getting back into it, and the ones that caught my eye WWE wise were John Cena, John Moxley, who was Dean Ambrose at the time, and Claudio, who was Cesaro. I thought those guys are really good, really talented. And then, well, a lot of people started watching WWE and then start going off towards super indies and other companies. And I started watching Ring of Honor in New Japan. And, at the time, they were in a really good relationship. And I just saw some like the best wrestling ever. Um, and so I think my favorite wrestler of all time is Hiroshi Tanahashi from New Japan. Something about him's crazy. He's like John Cena, but better. Like Cena's okay at all, but like just wrestling skill wise, match wise, the main events he has at Wrestle Kingdom. And then the great thing about New Japan is that they have like four other guys that are, just as good as him. They had Shinsuke Nakamura at the time. They had Okada. They had Shibata. And just watching all these guys like wrestle each other and stuff like that. Really influenced me, and it was a Nakamura versus Tanahashi match that made me think, I'm gonna go train pro wrestling.
I can see that. They had incredible matches, so that's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
surprising.
Okay, so I have another question for you there, Carl.
Yeah.
Because you and me sounds like we have a hell of a Northwest lineage here. You've done it a couple years. You said Oregon Professional Wrestling School, or is it Academy? I don't want to.
Oregon Pro Wrestling School. It's the
Okay, so
you made it the simplest name ever. So when people Google Oregon Pro Wrestling School, it comes up.
Okay, so here's my next question for you then. My next question is when you in your travels and stuff, because did I hear you say you've also worked for NWA BCW?
No, I did not work for them at the time.
Okay,
so get into it, but now I've volunteered at BCW shows, help with ring crew and stuff.
Now, was this like recently, or was this like before? Because I used to work at BCW. That's what I'm asking, and I don't know like if I've never seen you, but like what I will say is, my question is what is your so far early in your career your top 5 like favorite promotions you've worked for?
Top 5. So BCW, I started heading over there. All this. Well, I'm training, so I'm doing the young boy thing where I'm showing up, doing ring crew, security, doing what I can, or just checking it out. BCW, started going there when they're at it was up in like North Portland by St. John's, and it was when the Flaming Aces, Zay Perez and Hotshot Spencer Scott, they started working there, and I went there to support them and stuff. And for top 5 wrestling companies in the area, that's easy because there's only 5. But,
No, I know, I knew that, but like no, I like, or even like, okay, so let me reiterate that then. Top 5 of like your favorite indie promotions in the country.
Okay, I can name Northwest. I think number 1, it's a tie between POW and DOA. Actually, probably DOA, because I tell every person with a heartbeat, DOA is like, my opinion, Portland wrestling. They book everyone local. They got those, lifetimer guys that are super cool, and I just like it. I never watched a DOA show disappointed. Number 2, I know I like POW a lot. I like going there, showing up. Everyone's super nice. Same with DOA. It's more of a family atmosphere. Management's super well managed. That's the thing. It's like everything's delegated to someone. And it's fun. Number 3, I'm trying to think. Probably. Sorry. Wish I had a list. I'll just say Prestige. Prestige is cool. It's got, that. It's got that cool factor. Being at the Roseland downtown, all the names he books and stuff like that. Getting those names that people like. SOS is fun too. you know, I was Octavius 8 for one part, and that thing is so hard to wear. And but that was another one that was super cool, super fun to be at. Just as like a worker, like working there as like a young boy and stuff like that, ringing the ring in and stuff. And then I'm just trying to think of promotions locally I like a lot. Uh, and I guess yeah, there's Defies. They got the super indie stuff, and I like the shows they run out in Whitechapel for their Pride and stuff like that. Those are always fun to go to and see people watch wrestling for the first time. Globally, favorite companies, um, you know, New Japan, I think, um, has some of the best wrestling. And then that leaks over into AEW, and they got all those guys that used to be in like Ring of Honor who were super good in like late teens and stuff like that. That's like an evolution, in my opinion. And then I guess after that, it's Ring of Honor, owned by the same people, but you see a lot of cool matches and stuff like that. The idea of like not old school indie wrestling, but people who are trying to make it, people who are trying to prove themselves. Uh, and then globally, I guess number four, I don't know, WWE. It's always you can put it on, people watch it. Um, Everyone knows what they're doing, and or NXT, I guess would be a better option. Uh, I remember like old school NXT, not old school, but like Finn Balor and stuff like that. Tyler Breeze, Geto when he was on there. That was super cool. And then number
I'll
five,
ask him if he wants to do that.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Impact is cool. Impact has a lot of cool guys there, wrestling, doing their own thing. I don't keep up with it as much, but a lot of people do well in Impact go on to brighter, better pastures. But yeah.
So playing off that question, then, if you could work for one of the four major promotions, being like WWE, MLW, Impact, or like New Japan, which one would it be and why?
Um, Probably New Japan. Part of it, I always wanted to go to Japan, and I think they still signify what a lot of like what wrestling is and old school wrestling. Like, it's still viewed as like a competition over there. People treat it, like as a sports physical competition. And they keep it basic with the techniques and like I don't know, just you have to know they're not caught up in the whole entertainment aspect. They're not like, oh, this guy was super big on Twitter, or he's a this body lifter on Instagram that has 2 million followers. Oh, can we turn them into a wrestler, or we can bring him in and people can look up on YouTube. New Japan doesn't really chase that. They are really into like wrestling and like more of like the older mentality from like the 70s and 80s and stuff.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I like the crowd in New Japan, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
because it's completely different than what you would see over here.
it's like they're watching golf. It's funny. Yeah,
Hmm.
but and that's another thing. Like if you get a reaction out of a Japanese crowd, like you're doing something. Like
Absolutely.
yeah, AJ Styles has a story where he has Tanahashi in a pin. And this lady's crying her eyes out because she thinks Tanahashi's gonna tap. These are the people that clap, like
Yeah. Yeah, I've talked to some people from over here that they said that it throws them off completely because you want the reaction over here, and then you go over to Japan and you
mm,
don't get it. That's like, Am I doing something wrong, or you know, or
You
you
have
know?
to really think about wrestling instead of people who just want to be there to cheer and stuff. Uh, but yeah, I forgot. Was the question was the one company or do I list them down? I don't know.
No, it was just like, which company would you want to work for the most?
Yeah, probably New Japan.
Um, so let's go. Do you have a question, T Rex, or
No.
okay? Let's go with top five indie male wrestlers today, in your opinion.
Top five indie male wrestlers. What counts as indie anymore? Like, I think any guy that's just super good at independence is going to be on national TV in 6 months. Um, like, hard question now because a lot of the good indie guys you would like say aren't on the independents. They're on national TV. They're on AEW, WWE, Impact in a sense, and but I guess people who I would be able to see in person. I think it would be more of like a local. I'm gonna do people locally to the Pacific Northwest. Um, People locally, I enjoy watching a lot. Ethan HD. I think he's a great worker, great performer. I think uh, every time he goes out there, it's great. Um, I pay attention. I open my eyes. There's always something to learn. When you're standing there working security, staring off, it's easy to forget. Eric Drexel, I the solely the idea of you know the crowds cheering him, and how goofy, not goofy, but how fun. It seems like he's having fun, and the idea of character work. I went to one of the seminars and learned a lot, and a lot of what he gets out of the crowd is character work, and then there's uh trying to think other good wrestlers in the area. Derek Shaw, who I've trained with and stuff at the school. He comes to school and shows us stuff. He has an older mentality. He trained at the Fale Dojo, which has connections to New Japan globally, and though just being a fly on the wall, I learned so much from him, and the older ideas and stuff like that, and getting people to cheer an arm drag. Um, and then another go local wrestlers. My trainers, Eddie Eddie Pearl and Ricky Gibson. Um, I know them. I see them almost every day. Not every day. I see them every week, and then I watch them, and it's just fun watching them. It's entertaining every time, and just see how the crowd reacts to them. It's ridiculous. You think people who've been there for as long as they have, and be established, people would be smart and try to like, cheer them, but nope, they still do, and I think that's great. And then there's new people, Hammer Brothers locally. They came from the school. I have a bias because these are people I've met personally. Hammer Brothers, super cool, super up and coming. Jack is one of like the smartest, talented guys I've worked with. Sledge is smart too. He's more than just looks, and in the way they come out and not took over, but hit the Pacific Northwest and just been um, instantly there and recognized, and just like anyone who sees it online, they're like, "Whoa, this is the coolest thing," or something like that. So yeah, those are some independent wrestlers locally that I like a lot and strive to be one day.
Yeah, we actually got a chance to interview the Hammer Brothers, so I concur
Oh yeah.
with you on that one.
Oh yeah. They're I've never had a bad conversation with Sledge or Jack, and they're great guys. Down to earth. I can go on how much I love them.
All right, Heartbreaker, do you have a question?
It's about damn time you let me talk, you Mr. Crippled Messiah. You think you're wrestling God?
Don't think
Anyways, you say you train down there with Ricky and them. So, do you happen to know Mr. Levi Cooper? And if so, have you had any interactions with Mr. Levi Cooper?
Yeah. I guess add Levi to the list of independent wrestlers. He doesn't do that many bookings, but no, yeah, he's been there since I started training. He would come during advanced classes, and he's great. Uh, he's a great guy. As a teacher, as just hanging around and stuff like that. Um, I wish he'd come. I wish he was there all the time. Um, but yeah, I've interacted. I've had some practice matches with him and stuff. I think second, my second or third practice match was with him, like in the ring and stuff. And yeah, I've interacted with him. He's super good. I like to call him a friend. And yeah, like everybody locally I've interacted with, I can just go on and gush. uh, but yeah, he's super great guy.
Very cool. He was our very first interview on this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. So he's kind of special to us too.
very much so.
All right, Mr. Messiah, ask your question if you dare.
So, top 5 male wrestlers of all time.
Failed wrestlers?
Male
Oh,
wrestlers.
male wrestlers of all time. All right. All these top fives.
Yeah, we're kind of known for our top 5.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Number one wrestling skill. It's hard because there's like skill, and then there's impact in the industry, and then there's like popularity. It's hard. Like I can like. I think a good analogy a lot of people do is like their Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, like 4 wrestlers or 5 wrestlers that they put on a pedestal. Macho Man Randy Savage from that older era, definitely. I like him more than Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's cool, but Hogan's got his problems, and Macho Man cared about people backstage and meticulous and just the energy he gave. Uh, then going on from that, uh, uh, trying to think. Sorry.
No, you're okay.
I guess Tanahashi. I hate to be a broken record. He's just personally my favorite. Um, and skill wise, he's Japanese John Cena. And he can wrestle 5-star 6. John Cena. John Cena's a good wrestler. But Tanahashi, takes it to the next level. He does those big Tokyo Dome matches. Kick at 2.9999, and he's great personality.
I can't hear him.
Just the idea of him being like a Superman. How
the fuck?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
hear you. I don't.
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. Trying to think of Big Van Vader. I think
Ooh, good choice.
he's like the big guy wrestler. Like whenever you talk about big guy wrestling, he's one of the first people you mention. And in the ring, just intensity, presence, um, and just the whole idea of Vader. You see Vader and you think, oh, this guy can literally run over anyone, and he can
Yep.
still move around. He's not, just standing there trying to be tall, tall. Then another good wrestler that I guess Ric Flair. Ric Flair. He was wrestling, in the NWA, WCW stuff. He was the king of the territories, and it showed. And I love watching documentaries because you learn one new thing about him, and it's the craziest thing you would never think. Not like his favorite color, but like he would like do something or be ridiculous or have some story. Uh, yeah, those are some wrestlers, and also promos. He was great promos, great talker.
Very
Even
much.
one of the most famous wrestlers in the world, he did a great job making people not like him, which I think is a testament to his ability. And another personal, I guess, John Moxley. People a lot say he's the best wrestler in the world, and they say Kenny Omega. Skill wise, yes, but I don't know. John Moxley, like he, like when he was Dean Ambrose, um, he could, every time he was on screen, he would entice people. It was mystical to a sense. Like whenever I would show people WWE and he would show up, everyone would like point at him, say, "Oh, I like him." Uh, and I think that showed a lot for his character work and stuff. And that's what wrestling is. It's characters, it's motivations, it's connections, with the crowd and stuff.
Right. And I agree with you on Moxley, and so does my executive producer.
Mm.
Well,
I
while
met
you're trying to get the frog out of your throat.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I met him once, and like he was at a Defy show, and like I was trying to like I was just like I can't just go up and say hi, like like how do I tell him, like he's one of the reasons I'm like wrestling and stuff like that. And like I rehearsed it. I went to my trainers. Like, what if I go up to him and just say, "Hey, I'm blah blah blah. I'm training blah blah blah, and you're a big influence on me." Blah, blah, blah. And it was good. It was fun. It's one of those things where it's like you get to meet your heroes, which is cool. But there's always that little thought in the back of your head, and like, oh, what if I screw this up?
Yep.
No, but he was super nice. It was one of my favorite moments in my mind of like training and being, starting this journey into the business and whatnot.
Very nice. So, what's some of the best advice your trainers have ever given you, and do you still use that advice today?
Some of the best advice: keep it simple, stupid. Keep it stupid, simple. Um, it's not rocket. Keep it simple. If you try to overcomplicate things, uh, meaning is going to get lost, and uh, it's going to get lost in the crowd too, uh, and things are going to suffer from it. And so, like, just trying to think about basics and stuff is super important. Another good advice is Levi Cooper. It's about connections. It's not about who can do the biggest move. It's about moments because you ask people 90% of the time what their favorite part, and they're not gonna say, "Oh, when he did a tilt-a-whirl suplex off the top rope." I don't know if that's a real move. I just made it up. Um, but they do remember people going through tables or people appearing or like people getting their comeuppance and stuff and laughing and enjoying or booing and stuff. And that's it. It's about connections and making memories for people. So when they leave the show, they think about it and they want to come back. Um, Fundamentals. One time I asked Malcolm Flex, what should my finisher be? And he just said the fundamentals and then walked off. I think it's super important. I think you need to be able to, you know, fundamentals, it's key having those established. And that's what I'm working on right now. And we get new people come in and they ask, like, oh, promos, chops, hardcore, all this high flying. And it's like you gotta learn everything like here at beginner class first before you like go on and start developing your own styles because like a lot of wrestlers just have the fundamentals. As long as you have the fundamentals down, it'll help you travel and wrestle other people. And if everything doesn't go as planned, you just think of like your training, the rules, the fundamentals, and stuff like that. And it'll help you get you through, when things go wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So,
I have a
Mr.
question.
Heartbreak. Oh, sorry,
I have
T-Rex.
I
Go
have a
ahead.
question. Could you shut up a damn minute, please?
Sorry.
Jesus, you're picking on me and Heartbreaker tonight. What the hell's wrong with you, boy? So I
I
have a
don't know.
question for you, and I do owe you guys all an apology because my internet collapsed. Sorry, and you heard me cuss on the air. Um, so I owe you an apology. My question for you, Carl, is this, and because I don't know where we're at in the interview, but I had a question that I was going to set up for you. So you went to Oregon Pro Wrestling School.
I'm
You've been
still
to
go-
DOA.
yeah.
You've done some stuff like that. So my question to you is, do you your pre-match or your post-match? What's your favorite preparation?
Um, Pre-match. Uh, get my gear on. Uh,
That's
Preparation.
always good.
I think it's trying to start the energy because get your mind in the set because there's the um like I have to slap my head a lot like to get myself angry, get myself motivated because it's like you playing the match and you're thinking about the match, you're thinking about every way, you're repeating things, you're trying to remember. I have a bad memory and you think about moves and stuff, but it's a lot about emotion, and so I'm just before a match, I'm just staring off, just trying to like get that energy, get that adrenaline started before I go out because wrestling doesn't start at the beginning of the bell and the end of the bell. It begins right when you walk out that curtain and right when you walk back in, and it's good to have energy because when you have energy, the crowd has energy and they give it back. And post match, water.
That's
uh,
really important, actually. That's really important.
Really important. Oh, I'm big on stretching. That's my thing. Anything physical, I have to stretch. My lower body, or my knees will give out. Um, Post match, just talking, listening. Um, I'm very quiet. I think because you know people come, they tell you what they think and stuff. It's good to listen, and it's good to be a fly on the wall and stuff, especially after your match. And Yeah. Um, s- yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't watch my match till like day after. Some people like get their phones of their friend recording and they're like watching and watching and watching it. I just get happy I get through it. Everyone gets through it, and I watch it later. But yeah, those are some things I do pre and post match.
Mr.
Uh,
Heartbreaker, do you have a question?
well, it's about time, Mister. I talk so much that I dominate the interview. Anyways, Carl, I'm sorry you got to put up with him, but in your opinion, who's the best wrestler turned actor?
Who's the best wrestler turned actor? Um, it's hard. I think John Cena and Dave Bautista are neck and neck. Batista has more experience in like the acting world, and he, I think, is gonna get a role that's gonna eventually get. He's looking for more serious roles, uh, and I think John Cena is trying to be The Rock 2.0, but I think Batista's gonna actually try to get an Academy Award in some capacity or nomination, because he even got like scouted once by M Night Shyamalan because he's like, oh, I need a big guy who can actually act, and tons of big guys, especially in Hollywood, and he chose Batista, and that shows like what he can do. And then I loved him in Blade Runner. John Cena's good. I love him in Peacemaker, but I think acting is like wrestling, where everyone can go, oh, everyone can shoot, everyone can, be the big star and be funny, but like scenes that connect to people, moments that connect to people. That's really what like acting is, and art in a sense is making people feel emotions.
Absolutely. So, who have been some of your biggest rivals?
My biggest rivals,
Yeah.
um, cardio, calories, tough crust pizza. Uh, um, there's people, you know, in this industry, you have to put yourself in competition with people, and you have to sadly compare yourself to other people. And there's people I do that in my head, and it's just motivation for me. Um, in the ring, out the ring, uh, you know, you have to be there to win, to be the biggest guy, to be um not the biggest guy size wise, the biggest guy in the room, you know. Um and yeah, like there's people I've mentally put myself in competition with. There's people who I aspire to be. And but yeah, I don't think I've reached rivalry status with anyone yet though. Um and but I look forward to having like a series with someone, and I would love to work with other people I've worked with at Oregon Pro Wrestling School. Yeah, that's it when it comes to rivalry. and that's also another thing. It's your own journey. I firmly believe. If you're the guy that shows up and you can't do a role, or you're the guy that shows up and you can do every sort of flip anything they tell you on your first day, I it's everyone's own personal journey, and what you do and what you go through isn't affected by anyone else. It's only affected by you. Uh, and another great advice from Malcolm Flex, one of my teachers, is you control your own progress. You control your own how good you get over time, and yeah. So That answers your question in any capacity.
Oh, it does.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Um, are you a etiquette guy? Do you believe in like wiping your feet and that when you get in the ring? Because that's a big part of our business as well. I just want to know what your take is on etiquette and like the behind the scenes stuff that a lot of people don't see.
Um. It. I think it's 100% important. I am when wiping your feet etiquette. That's a safety thing. Drexel says, was it Paige or Soraya? Her mother, she got kicked once in the face, and the dirt and debris, whatever, got an infection. She almost lost her eyesight. And so, that's what you get told before you get right in the ring. I'm like, all right, like I try to wipe when I can remember, and a lot of things there's reasons, and etiquette backstage, I think, is very important, and it shows how much someone cares. Like
So go ahead. It's a two-part question I was going to also ask you. My other part of it is I actually, because I know, because like I've repped and stuff a lot in my career, and I try to make sure that guys are wiping when they come in. So here's the second part of the question. The reason I believe that you do it is also because once saw a guy like 2 days later, he had to go to the hospital because he got a staph infection.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just like you said, it's good etiquette, it's good manners, and safety. I'm a big safety guy. Um, uh, you know, uh, Working at other places and stuff like that. I make sure do all the safety stuff, and but etiquette wise, I think it shows how much you care. There's some things that people are human. You forget or you don't realize, and you feel embarrassed. And I've been there. I've seen other people been there, and but it shows what you do afterwards. And I think everyone appreciates if you do something that insults someone or you were rude or you didn't realize. It's always everyone appreciates an apology. And backstage, respecting your elders is very important. Respecting the veterans is very important because, um, they're you know they're here not there to help you, but they can help you, and they're a wealth of knowledge and information you can't find in a library, can't find in a book. Um, and yeah, so yeah, it's super important, borderline essential because if you don't have these rules, you don't have this stuff, it gets crazy, and some companies, late WCW or even AEW at one time, suffer from it.
So
Um,
I was go ahead. I was trained by a guy named Sandy Barr. I don't know if you ever heard of him. I know Dr. Cleaver has, and I know he's worked for like DOA and stuff. And Sandy used to preach to us when we got in the ring, before you did anything, you were to wipe your feet and you were to shake your hand. Now I like your approach on that, because a lot of younger guys don't even know why we do that. And you gave a hell of an answer by
mhm,
saying it's a respect thing and a safety thing.
mhm,
Uh, so I yeah, no, like I agree. It's the biggest safety thing that you can do besides like a ref giving the X signal. I mean, it's the next biggest thing that's important when it comes to being able to, you know, make yourself into a
mhm,
better wrestler in that. So
mhm. Yeah, and it helps you, remember things. So that's the thing. Yeah, like remember, like if you can't remember to wipe your feet, how do you expect to remember a match? Like I can't say every time I've gone in the ring I wipe my feet, because you're going in, and sometimes you're just standing there and they say, hey, go do this, and you try to go. But part of my things of getting up, wipe my feet, going to the rope, try to remember to do that. Yeah.
Alright. Mr. Heartbreaker, do you have a question?
Giant's coming.
I think he has a special guest himself.
Go ahead, real quick.
Okay, so if you had a dream opponent from any generation, no questions asked, who would it be and why?
Dream opponent.
Yeah.
Many generations. That's hard, you know. I don't think I would say Tanahashi because I don't. I don't know. He speaks a different language from me. Like, yeah, it would be great to work with him, but I think part of this answer is what you can learn from your opponent. Um, I think probably I don't know Ric Flair or Randy Savage, one of those people from the '80s era that would sell out thousands and thousands of seats and stuff like that. That would have thousands and thousands of people at their fingertips and stuff, and you know not doing a 360 480 dive off the top. Um, I think you can learn a lot from them, and they can elevate you, and they will give you experience that you'll never forget and make anyone a better wrestler.
It's a very good answer.
Thanks.
Um, let's go with your dream tag team partner.
Dream tag team partner. Uh, it's interesting. It's an interesting question for all of wrestling. I don't know because tag teams, there's different dynamics between different partners, and your role changes based off who your partner is. Um, Locally, I think anyone from anyone that I train with, Oregon Pro Wrestling School, and even beyond that, I would love to have a tag team partner. Working with them, um, being friends. I know it's very biased, people I train with, but people that are super very cool. Um, and people in the Pacific Northwest area, I not idolize, but I respect, and to work with them would be super cool. And also just learning. It's such a big question, especially when it comes to tag teams. I guess if I was the bigger guy, the guy with me locally, I think Zay Perez, Frankie Dove, those people are great to work with. Um, and then if I was working with another big guy like me, um, mention Dr. Cleaver. He's a super cool guy. Can learn a lot from him. Derek Shaw. I think we can make a good two big strong Hoss guy tag teams. And uh, yeah, Charlie Avail. He's another super cool local guy that I would love to work with in capacity of a tag team.
Very nice. T Rex, you have a question?
Um, yeah. So I don't know if this has been asked tonight, so I'll just ask it. Um, your favorite snack or cheat meal.
Um, Cheat meal. Gosh, I am a sucker for I love. I guess there's two different ones. One is stuffed crust pizza. I recently got invested in that. It's super good. Just any doesn't matter where it's from. It's good to eat. Wish I had more protein in it, and then the difficulty isn't eating the whole pizza. The difficulty is not eating the whole pizza.
Yep.
And that, when I want to eat a lot, I love going to any sort of Mexican restaurant. Showing up, getting all the chips and salsa and stuff, and just shoving that in my mouth. Drinking a bunch of diet soda and stuff. And then when your meal comes in, I'm a big quesadilla guy. I love quesadillas. Eating that, putting guacamole on it, all that stuff. Super good, super stuffed. Um, going with the idea is like this is gonna fill me up for the rest of the day. Uh, yeah, when I eat those, that's usually the only thing I eat that day. Maybe a snack in the morning, but other than that,
So, um, this one might be a thinker for you because it usually is when we ask this question. But
hmm.
if you could book a WrestleMania card with 6 matches from any generation, any talents available, no questions asked, who would be on the card?
um, main event: God versus the Devil. No, is six? What? I need pen and paper for this. I don't know. There's dream matches I wish would happen. Like one
We could go with those.
John Cena versus Tanahashi. I think would be a great match. I think I it would be they would set up for charity and stuff like a joint venture, or just WWE, and they would just have it. I think a lot of people would show up. Um, and both those guys are in twilight year of their careers. Um, uh, um, sorry, that's my phone. Um, other dream matches for like a WrestleMania card. I don't know. We never got Flair versus Hogan. I know they're old and they can't wrestle, but it would be really cool if we got what that was like promised back in the '80s when Flair went from NWA, Davey Crockett to WWE. I think that would tear the house down. Bigger than my first match. That would probably be the main event. Um, gosh, other dream matches, dream events. Uh, no limitations. Have they done John Cena versus The Rock again?
Nope, you did John Cena and Tanahashi, but you didn't do.
Yeah, I know. Jeez. I don't know. They love putting Roman Reigns in WrestleMania matches. Roman Reigns versus The Rock. I think that would be interesting. I think that would sell a lot of tickets. Obviously, it's The Rock. Um. Uh. Yeah, I don't know. That's a big question.
Yeah, I know that's a tough one.
Yeah, those are just some dream matches. I've thought up over the years.
All right. Well, then why don't we ask the final question tonight, and that would be, where can we find you on social media?
I think Instagram. That's where I'm most active. Where I do the most posts. Instagram at Carl Danger PDX. You find me on there. I did make a Twitter. I haven't done anything with it, so don't look that up. And then I'm on Facebook, Carl Danger Freeman. On Facebook, you can find me up there. Instagram, I think that's the best place to contact me. It's Facebook. It's more of a personal thing, and if some random person says hi to me, I'm like, oh, it's full of bots. It's full of a lot of people that aren't people. So seeing random names and stuff like that you're not familiar with. But yeah, definitely look me up on Instagram, Carl Danger PDX. You'll see me in the background of a lot of Oregon Pro Wrestling school videos and pictures. And yeah.
All right. And now it's time to thank our two sponsors. Go ahead, Nathan.
Our first sponsor is the CARE program, which stands for Community Action Reaching Everybody. And to get a hold of the lady that's in charge of that is Becky Bernhardt on Facebook. And Bruce Nichols Painting for all your painting, pressure washing, and lead removal needs. And you can find him on Andy.
All right. Well, thank you again, Carl, for coming on. We really enjoyed it. So, for Carl Danger, for T-Rex, for the Crippled Messiah, I'm the Heartbreaker. We'll see you guys next time.
Yep.